you automatically increase your value by 20 million%. Because 20 million. Exactly 20 million. Because you're not just a person who can draw. You can actually come up with concepts and stories that people might want to see. To answer your question, coming up with ideas and stories, I'll sit and I'll draw characters all day long. I'm always drawing. I've been here for a day and I've been just in my room drawing and hanging around the hotel. But I'm always coming up with something new and something exciting that I think is fun. And eventually some of those drawings will turn into even more drawings of a character, or I'll add a friend for that character, or make a world for that character. Then I've got to come up with the writing and the dialogue and the stories. And if I'm afraid to do that, and if I don't know how to do that, then I limit myself. You know what I mean? And then I limit my value. I might be an amazing artist, man, but if I can write a story too, even more valuable. So I'm here to encourage you all, learn how to write, even if nobody reads it. It doesn't matter if someone's going to read it or not, because you know what? All the bad stuff is going to stay with you. Don't show it to anybody. But eventually, you'll get good, and you'll be able to show your stuff. That's another thing I want to tell you all. Don't have any fear about your artwork. A lot of people in here are like, I'm an artist, but I don't want to show my stuff because people might ridicule it. Welcome to my world. I get criticized, but my stuff gets criticized all the time. Maybe not verbally, but the second somebody looks at a piece of art, they can start criticizing. But if you're going to be afraid and never put your artwork out there, you're never going to go anywhere. What if I had fear the day I went to go pitch Fairly OddParents? What if I had fear that day? Oh, we're really nervous. What if they don't like my show? What if I had not gone in that day? Then I miss an opportunity. I always say opportunities are like comets. They're really cool, but they don't come around very often. Okay, it might be a long time until you see another one. Who saw the eclipse this year, or this week? Yeah, the last one was 38 years ago. All right, so opportunities are like eclipses. The eclipse took my comment joke, man. They're like eclipses. They only come around every so often. Thanks for the question. Did you have a question for me, Jace? That's why Jace is sitting here. Jace is here to feed me ideas and questions and things.
And I'll hand out fidget spinners too.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So, how was, speaking of pitching, like how was like the process of pitching like Fairly OddParents, your first show, compared to like Danny Phantom, your second show?
Anybody want to know this? Yeah. All right. Say yes, Butch. We want to know. Yes. Thank you. They're all alive. Thank you. No, when you pitch a show of any kind, you're really, like Fred mentioned earlier, taking a risk. And it's all about risk. If you're going to be a creative person, it is all about risk. Because you are going out there and you're blazing a new trail. You know, blazing a new trail like I'm inventing the iPhone? Well, maybe you are, but maybe you're coming up with a story no one else has ever thought of before. And so when I pitched, here's the story how I pitched Fairly OddParents. I was working on a show called Johnny Bravo. Was ever heard of Johnny Bravo? That's right, baby. I worked on Johnny Bravo for a guy named Van Partible. Van created the show, and I worked with a young up-and-coming writer. He's not very talented. I don't really think he's going to make it. His name is Seth MacFarlane. By the way, I'm sorry I'm not Seth MacFarlane, okay? All right. But Seth and I were writers on Johnny Bravo, and we were having a great time, and then season 1 of Johnny Bravo ended, and I was going to be out of a job. And this is where your talents as a writer, storyteller, artist come into play, because you have to learn, like Fred was saying, you have to learn how to draw different styles of things all the time. Like, I had to learn how to draw Johnny Bravo and write for his character, but then I jump over to another show and I have to learn how to draw for that show. So as an artist, you got to be flexible, you got to be nimble and be on your feet. So anyway, I was working on Johnny Bravo, and I got sick of working for people. I'm so tired of working for other people and losing my job, because shows end. I'm going to come up with my own show. So I decided to come up with a show about a little boy, because you write what you know. I used to be a little boy. About an hour ago. No, I'm kidding. No, but I wrote a show about a little boy, and I drew him, and it was Timmy Turner. But his name wasn't Timmy Turner. His name was going to be Mikey something, because I have a brother named Mike. But we had a fight that day. So I scratched out the name Mike, and I have another brother named Timmy, and I wrote Timmy. So Timmy Turner is named after my brother Tim Hartman. And I named Timmy Turner. I'm like, well, this kid's really cute. What can I do with him? I want to do something where I can, and I was a writer at that time. I was learning how to write. And I'm like, I need a good way to get this character from place to place. I didn't want to be stuck having to write long stories, you know. So I thought I could give him like science powers, and he could teleport. But I couldn't do science because Dexter's Lab was already out. Right? And that's another thing I want to tell you guys, pitching shows, writing stories. Do your homework. You might have a great story idea, but if the studio already has that kind of a show, they're not going to buy your show. Nothing personal. At Nickelodeon right now, there's Ninja Turtles. There was a show called Super Ninjas, Kung Fu Panda, and what was the other one? Oh yeah, Avatar, The Last Airbender. There were 4 martial arts shows on Nickelodeon. So you don't want to go in there with a martial arts show. Even though your martial arts show was amazing, they're not going to buy the martial arts show from you. So come up with something new. That's another risk you have to take, coming up with new stuff. Get out of your comfort zone. Anyway, I drew Timmy. I thought, well, I can't give him science powers, I'll give him magic powers. He needs a magic friend. I drew Wanda, whose original name was Venus. I thought, oh, that's a fun name. I thought Magic Wanda is better, so I drew, Wanda. And then I thought, I've never seen a fairy godfather before, so I drew Cosmo. And I had that one drawing, and that whole process took about 15 minutes. And it's surprising, I know. Some shows take a lot longer. This I do 15 minutes, and I go, he needs an enemy. I'll make this evil babysitter, and then the fairies can turn into things because kids love to have secrets. And then when you have secret friends in his room, so they turn into fish, they can turn into boxes, they can turn into clothes, whatever. And I came up with that whole thing in like 15 minutes and pitched it. And I actually pitched it. Fred was after me because he was over at Nickelodeon. I was at Hanna-Barbera. Fred said, I've got one slot left on the show called the Oh Yeah Show. Can you come over and pitch me a cartoon? At first I said no, but then I said, hey Fred, Johnny Bravo was going, hey Fred, you have that slot open still? He said, I have one slot left, so I went over there and Fred bought it. Went on to the Oh Yeah Show, and then Nickelodeon liked it and went from there. And then Danny Phantom came about, because I was trying to think of another idea about a year later. Fairly OddParents was doing really well on the air. And I'm driving from Las Vegas with my mother in a moving van. Okay? My mom's moving from Vegas to live with me, so I'm driving in a moving van. And usually it takes about 4 hours to get from Vegas to LA. I'm in a moving van, it took about 8 hours. So I'm driving. My mom and I got tired of talking to each other, and I knew Nickelodeon was looking for a boys action show. And I'm like, boys action show? I remember the show Johnny Quest. Who likes Johnny Quest, right? Sure. Johnny Quest. Did they applaud that loud for my shows?
Even louder.
Even louder.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
I don't have to remember.
You keep one of those fidget spinners for yourself.
Oh my gosh!
But I'm looking. I go. They need a boys action show. I thought, okay, if I could come up with a cool name like Johnny Quest, that's step number one. So what would be a cool name? I'm driving and I'm going, okay, lightning is a cool word. Power is a cool word. Toast is a cool word. And finally, I ended up on the word Phantom. I just ended up on Phantom, and I'm going, okay, Phantom. Billy Phantom, Johnny Phantom, and by the time I got to LA, I had Danny Phantom in my head, and I was like, okay, so I started drawing Danny Phantom, and then the head of Nickelodeon, his name is Albie Hecht, great guy, takes me out to dinner about 6 months later, and he goes, hey, we love Fairly OddParents, we're going to make more, we'd love you to do more. I'm like, great. Then he goes, do you have anything else? How many of you can answer that question? Like I said, have something else. I mean, I always have a plan B, always have another idea. So I go, as a matter of fact, I do have something else. It's called Danny Phantom. And he goes, great, let's make it. How cool is that? Right? Very cool. Right? But then he goes, let's make it. All I had were a few drawings of Danny. I'd seen really cool drawings of Danny. I finally figured out the white hair thing. I had the whole Danny Phantom thing, and I'm like, I didn't know who his friends were. I didn't know any of that. So then the development process started, and that was a 2-year process after he said, let's make it. So, things do take a while to get to develop and do right. So yeah, that answers that question.
Awesome.
Any other questions from an audience member, Justin? Let's give